On Christmas Day, my girlfriend Sophia and I had made an appointment to get our marriage license. However, I waited until the marriage registration office was almost closing, but she was nowhere to be seen. Just as I was about to call her, she sent me a message, "Honey, I have something urgent today. Can we get the license another day?" I was puzzled. What could be so important for her today? My heart sank when I saw the official announcement on her Twitter account: "Live the rest of my life without regrets, Mr. David," and the sweet photo of her and her first love with the marriage certificate pressed to their face. I didn't make a fuss, threw away my wedding ring, cancelled the wedding, went home to tidy up everything, and erased all traces of the house. My girlfriend called me, crying and complaining. "Didn't you say that no matter what I do, you'll love me? Why are you going back on your word? You left without saying goodbye. Don't you love me anymore?" On the day I left, she chased after me in her wedding dress, crying and begging me to marry her. Main text. If you like it, remember to subscribe. In the marriage registration office, beautiful small colored flags were hung everywhere, creating a festive atmosphere. Couples came and went, holding their newly obtained marriage certificates, hugging, kissing, and taking photos to announce their happiness with beaming faces. I was lost in thought looking at the photos on Twitter, and the household register and photos in my hand fell to the ground, jolting me back to reality. Just as I was about to pick them up, another hand reached out first. A glimmer of surprise flashed through my heart. When I looked up, I saw a strange man standing in front of me, accompanied by his newly wed wife. He picked up the household register and photos and handed them to me, smiling and saying, "Brother, are you also here to get a marriage license?" I nodded and laughed self-deprecatingly. Sophia is probably having a sweet time with David right now. How could she come to me? The man looked around and asked in confusion, "Then, where's your wife? There are a lot of people on Christmas Day. Don't lose your wife. Be careful, she gets angry and refuses to marry you." The man and his wife looked at each other and smiled, full of happiness. My nose twitched. Suddenly, I remembered that Sophia and I were once like this. 16-year-old Sophia had skin so white that it seemed translucent in the sun. When she looked at me, her eyes were filled with stars, and her voice was like a melody. "James, when I grow up, can I be your wife?" It all seemed like yesterday, but in the next moment, the sweet of the two on Twitter instantly pulled me back to reality. I put my phone in my pocket and a bitter smile curled up on my lips. She got married to someone else. After saying this, ignoring the surprise in his eyes, I turned around and left because I was afraid I could no longer hide my embarrassment. I was lying in the driver's seat, looking at the photos of Sophia and me all over the car roof, and memories came flooding back. A month ago, at my birthday party, Sophia, in a wedding dress, walked towards me surrounded by our childhood friends, holding flowers. "Mr. James, I'm 27. Can you marry me now?" My eyes were red. I took the flowers from her hand, knelt down on one knee, and took out the prepared ring to put it on her finger. "Miss Sophia, I do." At that moment, my voice couldn't help but tremble. I remembered every anniversary of our relationship and her birthday. I would plan days in advance each time, just to make her happy. Every day after work, I would drive to pick her up immediately. Then we would go to the supermarket to buy groceries and cook together. Even Sophia's colleagues were envious. "Wow, Sophia, your boyfriend is perfect. You must have saved the galaxy in your previous life to find such a gentle and considerate boyfriend." Every time she heard such praise, Sophia's face would turn red with shyness, and her eyes looking at me were filled with sweetness. "Mr. James, please teach me a lot for the rest of my life." Amid the cheers of our childhood friends, she kissed my lips passionately. I thought that after an 11-year-long relationship, we would finally have a happy ending. I was so excited that I couldn't sleep all night. Unexpectedly, it all vanished in a blink of an eye. Looking at the returning wild geese in the distance, a touch of sadness spread in my heart. I had to go see Sophia. There must be some mistake. How could our childhood friendship and love not withstand a passer-by who had disappeared for more than 10 years? As soon as I got home, I found that the door wasn't closed properly. Through the crack of the door, I saw Sophia talking to her best friend. "Olivia, I got married to David." It felt like a heavy blow to my chest, and I suddenly had difficulty breathing. Before coming here, I still had a glimmer of hope, thinking that it might be a prank. It turned out that I was just deceiving myself. Inside the room, Olivia was shocked. "Sophia, are you crazy? Why did you get married to David?" Sophia sobbed softly, but her voice was firm. "David is back. He was diagnosed with late-stage cancer and only has 3 months to live. We fell in love in junior high school. If it weren't for our family's obstruction, we would have been together long ago, and there would be no James. I've missed him once, and I can't miss him a second time. So, I'm very calm now. I want to have a wedding with him. I want to marry him because I love him. It felt like countless needles were piercing my body. The dense pain made me tremble all over. We had known each other since childhood for 27 years and had been in love for 11 years, but in the end, it couldn't compare to a crush she had when she was young and first in love. Sophia! Olivia suddenly roared, her voice hoarse. Even if you want David to leave in peace, you could have done it secretly. Why do you have to make it known to the whole world? Don't you think you're being mean? I thought Sophia would realize her big mistake and repent, but I never expected her next words to break my heart even more. Do it secretly? Are you kidding me? Isn't that an insult to the sincere and pure love between David and me? Our love transcends time and space, and the whole world should be moved to tears by our story. How am I being a bad person? I suddenly clenched my fist and punched the cement wall next to me. I thought, your love with David is sincere and pure, and you love each other passionately. Then what about our 11 years? What am I? Olivia stamped her feet in anger, finding it unbelievable. You love David, but what about James? He's your real childhood sweetheart. You've been in a relationship for 11 years. How can you do this to James? I slowly raised my head. It was as if I could see Sophia through the door. She looked proud. How am I being unfair to him? I'm just marrying David. I won't sleep with him or have his children. My body and my heart still belong to James. I'm not cheating. And James swore that he would marry no one but me. How can a man go back on his word? So, even if I marry David, he will definitely still marry me. Otherwise, when he said he loved me, he was lying. I don't know how I finally left there. I parked the car on the side of the road, sat in the driver's seat, and lit a cigarette. I closed my eyes and laughed bitterly. Actually, I don't like smoking. Maybe it was because the smoke was choking, making my eyes uncomfortable. I couldn't stop crying while Sophia's words echoed in my mind. Sophia and I were born in the same hospital one after another. We were real childhood sweethearts. Our fathers founded the largest domestic electronics group together. So, she had been my undisguised preference since childhood. If the story ended here, it should have been a happy ending for childhood sweethearts. But in high school, David appeared, a day student with dyed yellow hair and a wild and unrestrained manner. Such an outcast immediately attracted Sophia, who had been well-behaved since childhood. He was also the first boy to make Sophia's ears turn red when he confessed to her. As a result, her grades plummeted. Just as Sophia was about to fall for him, her father learned about it. On the same day, he gave David's family a large sum of money and sent David abroad, bringing Sophia and my story back on track. But who could have thought that a person who had disappeared for 10 years would reappear in front of her and even shatter our 11-year-long relationship? 3 months ago, when a meteor shower came, I shouted to the meteor, I, James, will marry no one but Sophia in this life. Sophia also looked at me with love and said, I, Sophia, will marry no one but James. That night, we made a vow to be together for life. I never thought that the person I loved the most would stab me in the heart, again and again, like slow slicing. There was only one cigarette left. I got out of the car and walked towards the convenience store. Suddenly, it started to rain lightly. On the street, pairs of lovers, wearing red couple outfits with 2 hearts printed on them, held hands and ran home desperately. They were running and laughing happily in the rain. I didn't run because I no longer had a home. Sophia suddenly called. I hung up without hesitation. She called again, and I refused again. Finally, I simply turned off my phone. I didn't know how to face her at this moment. Should I blame her? But 27 years of memories left me at a loss. I don't know how long it had passed. Suddenly, I heard someone ask with concern, it's raining so hard. Why don't you find a place to shelter? What if you catch a cold? I was startled. Only then did I realize that the rain wasn't hitting me. I slowly raised my head and saw that Sophia was actually standing beside me, holding an umbrella for me. I instinctively stepped back, preferring to endure the icy cold of the autumn rain rather than accept the warmth she gave out of pity. Sophia took a step forward and continued to hold the umbrella for me. Her eyes were red, full of distress. She gently took the cigarette butt from my fingers and threw it into the trash can. Smoke less. It's bad for your health. Is it any of your business? May I ask, who are you to me? After saying this, I walked away a few steps, took out a cigarette, and wanted to smoke again, but she took it away. Do you want to make me worry to death? As she said this, she took off her coat and put it on me. Looking into her eyes, I was a little dazed. At this moment, how I wished that the thing on Twitter had never happened. Sophia asked gently, have you eaten? I shook my head numbly, greedy for her tenderness. Back home, Sophia immediately filled half a bowl of soup and handed it to me. "Drink some hot soup first to warm up. Don't catch a cold." I didn't take it. Looking at the girl I had spoiled since childhood, the girl I had loved for my entire past, at this moment, countless complex emotions surged in my heart, and I could hardly control myself. After a moment of silence, I calmed my voice and said calmly, "Sophia, let's break up." Sophia's hand trembled, and the soup spilled, scalding her. In the past, I would have immediately taken out a tissue to wipe it for her. This time, I sat there motionless. After a long time, Sophia's lips began to tremble. I wasn't sure if it was my illusion, but her voice seemed to be crying and trembling. "James, are you still angry about me getting married to David today? Don't be angry, okay? David only has 3 months left. After 3 months, as long as we love each other. Stop talking." I suddenly shook off her hand, my face cold. "Miss Sophia, you've already married someone else and are someone else's legal wife. So, please respect yourself." "James." Sophia's eyes suddenly became complicated, and she swallowed the rest of her words. Her eyes became redder, and tears rolled down her face like pearls. Since we were young, I had tried my best to make Sophia happy every day and never wanted to make her shed a single tear. Because I thought that if you love someone, you should strive to make her happy, even if it requires great sacrifice from me. But at this moment, I was indifferent to her crying, my heart as hard as iron. "Miss Sophia, if you didn't hear clearly, I can say it again. It's over between us." After saying this, I turned around and went back to the room to pack my clothes. Sophia snatched my clothes and hugged me tightly, as if she wanted to melt me into her body. Her voice was panicked and hoarse. Sorry, James, I'm sorry. I really didn't want to hear any form of sorry. I wanted to be treated right. James, I beg you, don't leave me, okay? You know I love you so much. Didn't you promise my grandmother before she died that you would be good to me for a lifetime and never leave me? Just wait for me for 3 months. After 3 months, I'll still be yours, okay? Sophia looked up at me, her eyes full of tears, looking pitiful. I pushed her hands away without hesitation and slowly shook my head in her panicked eyes. Sophia, you keep saying you love me, but you married David. Since that's the case, why should I wait for you? Just because you think I love you, so you can be so reckless? Sophia was stunned, then shook her head while crying. It's not like that. At this moment, her phone suddenly rang. Seeing that it was David's number, she quickly wiped away her tears, composed herself, and forced a smile. David, what's wrong? Are you not satisfied with the groom's suit? Don't worry. I'll come right away and help you choose. You'll be the most handsome groom in the world at tomorrow's wedding. David, I love you. After hanging up the phone, Sophia looked at me again, her eyes pleading. James, in the past, no matter what I did, you would always follow me. Why are you so fragile now that you can't even bear a little grievance? Besides, although I married David, I will never have sex with him. I'll keep my virginity for you. After David leaves, in the remaining decades of my life, I'll be with you, have children for you. Isn't that enough? James, I love him, but I also love you. Don't make things difficult for me, okay? I thought it was extremely ridiculous. She said she was in a difficult situation, but she didn't hesitate at all when making a choice and was even so self-righteous. What I wanted was a love that only belonged to each other. Even spiritual cheating was unacceptable. It was just as dirty. Come to my wedding tomorrow. I want you to see me at my most beautiful. Then our wedding will be like this too, okay? After saying this, without waiting for my answer, Sophia left in a hurry to find David. The moment the door closed, I took out the photo of Sophia and me from my wallet, lit a lighter, and slowly set it on fire. 11 years of love was now as fragile as this burning photo, quickly turning to ashes. I let go, turning my youth into ashes, seeing through the confusion, and letting her go. Sitting on the ground, I lit a cigarette and looked at the anonymous text message on my phone. James, remember to come to my wedding with Sophia. Even if I'm going to die, I still won. Without guessing, it must be David. In the past, I would have been furious. But at this moment, I was expressionless and only typed one word, okay. The next day, I came to the hotel entrance and happened to run into Sophia's colleagues. The way they looked at me was a mixture of surprise, curiosity, incomprehension, and pity. I ignored them and walked straight into the hotel. Sophia had prepared a handsome suit for me, but I didn't wear it. After all, I wasn't here to attend the wedding. From the entrance to the upper floors, wedding photos of Sophia and David were hung everywhere, each one brimming with sweetness and happiness. Red cloths were draped, and it was full of joy. The banquet hall was crowded with people, but none of Sophia's family members were present. Soon, I saw Sophia. She was wearing a beautiful wedding dress, looking around as if searching for something. When she saw me coming, she was stunned for a moment, then quickly came up to me, her eyes red and her voice trembling. "James, you still love me after all. I'm so happy you came." She reached out to hold my hand, but I immediately avoided it and said indifferently, "Miss Sophia, there should be some distance between men and women, especially at your wedding. Holding hands isn't appropriate." The smile on Sophia's face froze instantly, and her eyes showed a bit of panic. "James, are you still angry? Then why did you come?" "Why did I come?" Looking at her nervous face, I naturally knew what she was thinking. She was afraid that I would come to make trouble or even try to snatch the bride. I chuckled. Just as I was about to speak, the MC over there urged, "The wedding is about to start. Bride, come here quickly." "James." Sophia turned to look at the urging relatives and friends, then turned back and stepped forward step by step, her eyes red. "This is my dream. Please, wait for me for 3 months. When the dream is over, I'll come back to you. Just let me marry David. Just make this one last compromise for me, okay?" The wedding was going on. The host stood between Sophia and David and started the routine speech. During the oath-taking, Sophia kept looking at me, her eyes filled with fear and trepidation. The guests found it very strange and cast curious glances at me one after another. "Who is this guy? Seems like the bride's ex-boyfriend. What's the ex-boyfriend doing here? He wouldn't be here to snatch the bride, would he? How shameless. The bride has already dumped him, and he still shows up." Everyone stared at me intently, whispering among themselves. The words they said were quite unpleasant, but I didn't care at all. Funny enough, today, I was just here to bid farewell to this absurd youth. I had already booked a flight ticket to France to inherit the property my mother left me there. So after this farewell, I would never see her again. As for giving blessings, I didn't think I was that magnanimous. Saying goodbye was already my limit. Just as I was about to turn around and leave, I saw Sophia take out a golden amulet. She glanced at me and then subtly shook her head. Looking at that familiar amulet, my feet suddenly felt as if they were filled with thousands of pounds of molten copper, unable to move even an inch. "Isn't this James?" David's eyes widened in and then he was overjoyed. Sophia looked at David with tender eyes and said, "This amulet. As long as the newlyweds wear it, they can love each other for a lifetime and be happy and safe." David looked at the amulet, choked with emotion, and said, "Sophia, you're so kind. I love you." Sophia affectionately put the amulet around David's neck and publicly vowed, "David, marrying you is the biggest dream of my life. In this life, are you willing to love only me? No matter what I do, are you willing to like me, tolerate me, and forgive me?" The venue fell silent. Looking at Sophia's expectant eyes, David triumphantly glanced at me and gently embraced Sophia in his arms. "I will. As long as you're happy, I'm willing to do anything." The whole audience burst into thunderous applause. I stared fixedly at the amulet around David's neck, my heart feeling as if it was being tightly grasped. Suddenly, someone in the audience said, "David, what are you waiting for? Kiss your bride quickly. Kiss. Kiss." Sophia closed her eyes, her face full of anticipation. "Enough!" I roared like a wild beast and quickly stepped forward. The whole place fell silent instantly. Everyone stared at me in astonishment. Sophia woke up as if from a dream, looking at me in horror. Her eyes were red, and she shook her head desperately. "James, no. You said before that you couldn't bear to hurt me." I looked straight ahead, ignored everything, walked onto the stage, stared coldly at Sophia, and clenched my fists. Hatred welled up in my heart. I grabbed the microphone and said something that made her cover her mouth and cry bitterly, something she would regret for the rest of her life. "Originally, I came here to wish you happiness. But now, I've changed my mind. Sophia, I hope you get stuck in the cycle of novelty." Amid Sophia's sobbing and David's dumbfounded expression, I stepped forward and yanked the amulet off David's neck, saying viciously, "This is my grandmother's relic. No one can defile it." Everyone at the scene was stunned. "What? That amulet belongs to the bride's ex-boyfriend? What's going on? What else could it be? Didn't you hear what he said? This Sophia is not a good person." I turned around and left, walking faster and faster, eager to get away from this nauseating place as soon as possible. After running out of the hotel, I was about to drive away when Sophia chased after me and grabbed my hand. "James, where are you going?" I shook off her hand and said mockingly, "Mrs. David, you're a married woman. Please respect yourself. Even if you don't care about your reputation, I do." These words stabbed Sophia deeply. She never expected that I would say such harsh words. I had truly loved her. Even though she chose David, I didn't plan to pester her, nor did I think of cursing her viciously. But she humiliated my grandmother's relic, and I could never forgive that. You call me Mrs. David? Sophia's eyes were red, her chin trembling slightly, and her expression was pained and aggrieved. In the past, if I saw her like this, I would have been extremely heartbroken. But now, I felt nothing. This must be the feeling of a broken heart. If I don't call you Mrs. David, what should I call you? Sophia, do you even deserve it? Sophia's tears streamed down, and she covered her mouth, squatting on the ground and crying bitterly. I opened the car door, got in, and started the car. Sophia stood up in a panic, grabbed the car window, and chased after me. James, wait. Don't leave me. James, I'm begging you. The car was getting faster and faster. I said anxiously, let go quickly, or you'll get hurt. Sophia cried, I won't let go. Even if I'm bruised all over, I won't let go. James, don't leave me. Pedestrians on the street saw a bride hanging onto the car window and turned to look. Some even took out their phones to record. Sophia chased for a while, but her high heels were not suitable for running. Eventually, she had no choice but to let go and fell to the ground. I stuck my head out and saw her lying on the ground, crying bitterly. She looked so pitiful. Feeling sorry for her? Why should I? As I said this, I suddenly thought the voice sounded familiar. I turned my head and saw it was Olivia. I was very surprised. Weren't you in the hotel? How come you're in my car? I was, but I couldn't stand it anymore, so I wanted to leave. I happened to see you were leaving too and thought I'd hitch a ride. Olivia looked at me with a complex expression and asked, should I get off? I shook my head and said, no, I'll take you. Olivia asked, James, have you really let go? I laughed self-deprecatingly. Let go a long time ago. If she hadn't taken out my grandmother's amulet, it wouldn't have ended up like this. Olivia nodded slightly and said, James, where are you going next? I replied, I'm going back to get my luggage and then go to France. She just said and didn't say anything more. When we got home, I pulled my suitcase and left without any nostalgia. Olivia helped me carry the luggage. When taking the elevator downstairs, she secretly looked at me several times. After hesitating for a long time, she finally asked, are you going to France and never coming back? I looked at her calmly and said, I know what you want to say. I'm not running away. I have business to attend to there. Olivia nodded slightly. A trace of disappointment flashed in her eyes, but she still forced a smile. To be honest, I really admire you. I turned to look at her, feeling curious. Olivia looked ahead as if talking to herself. Good men like you, who are broad-minded, magnanimous, and know how to dote on their girlfriends, are really rare. Sophia left you because of a past regret. She doesn't know what's good for her. If it were me, I wouldn't let go even if I had to die. As she said this, she suddenly looked at me, her eyes clear and sincere. I was stunned for a moment. After coming to my senses, I quickly avoided her gaze. The air suddenly froze. Olivia broke the awkwardness and laughed. Just kidding. Don't take it to heart. I just said softly as a response. After putting the luggage in the car, we left the community. 10 minutes later, she pointed to the hotel ahead and said, you can drop me off on the side of the road. I can take a taxi back. The car stopped by the roadside. After Olivia got out of the car, she waved goodbye to me. I turned the car towards the hotel. Out of the corner of my eye, I suddenly saw from the rear view mirror that she was still standing there, watching me leave until I entered the hotel. Then she reluctantly took a taxi and left. At night, I stayed in the hotel. Sophia called me, but I didn't answer. When she called again, I blocked her number. Feeling upset, I was about to go to sleep and find a house the next day. In the middle of the night, my phone suddenly rang. It was Olivia. As soon as I answered, she shouted, James, something's wrong. I instinctively thought something had happened to Olivia, so I asked, what's wrong with you? I'm fine. It's Sophia. Something's wrong with her. Just as she was speaking, the door was suddenly knocked. I asked Olivia to wait a moment and got up to open the door. Outside stood a policeman and a hotel staff. The policeman showed his ID and asked seriously, are you Mr. James? I had never dealt with the police before, so I felt nervous. I nodded woodenly. Yes, I am. What's the matter? As I asked, I was thinking in my mind that I shouldn't have done anything illegal today. The policeman noticed my nervousness and smiled. Don't be nervous. I'm not here to arrest you. Someone reported to our police station that her boyfriend was missing, so we came to look for you. As he spoke, he took out his phone and reported, "Captain, the person has been found. He's at the Vienna hotel. Bring the person who reported the case here quickly." I was completely confused when my phone suddenly vibrated. I picked it up and saw a message from Olivia. "James, Sophia called everywhere to ask about your whereabouts. When she got no results, she actually called the police." I finally understood and took the initiative to explain, "Officer, you've got it wrong. I'm not Sophia's boyfriend." The policeman didn't believe me and patted me on the arm, persuading me. "Young man, I was your age once. It's normal for couples to quarrel and get angry. We men should be more broad-minded. You know, your girlfriend knelt down and begged us to help find you. We can all see that she really has feelings for you. So, even if you're still angry, you should forgive her, right?" I could tell he meant well, but things were not as he thought. My relationship with Sophia was too complicated to explain in a few words. Helplessly, I went back to the room to pack my things, ready to leave. I really didn't want to see Sophia again. The policeman saw that I was about to leave and reached out to stop me, a bit annoyed. "You young man, why don't you listen to advice? I'm doing this for your own good." I smiled bitterly and said, "I know you mean well, but do you know? She's already married." The policeman was stunned, looking completely confused. "What's going on?" Just then, Sophia rushed over in a hurry. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. When she saw it was really me, Sophia didn't greet me but bowed to the policeman to express her gratitude. The policeman saw that his task was completed, so he didn't stay long and left with the hotel staff. I also wanted to leave, but Sophia stopped me and asked in a sobbing voice, "Do you really not want to see me that much?" I looked straight ahead, not looking at her, and said indifferently, "What difference does it make if we see each other or not? It doesn't matter anymore." Sophia cried and said to me, "Then why did you tell me to let go when I was chasing the car? Isn't it because you still have feelings for me in your heart?" I chuckled and looked at Sophia. "Don't flatter yourself. Even if it was a stranger hanging onto the car window, I would still kindly remind them. Do you have anything else? If not, please get out of the way." Sophia still blocked my way, looking puzzled. "You used to dote on me so much. No matter how willful I was, you would tolerate me and not get angry. Why are you unwilling to tolerate me one last time?" I thought it was ridiculous. "Sophia, how much more do you want me to tolerate you? We agreed to get the marriage license on Christmas Day, but not only did you not show up, you got married to someone else. Did I scold you? Did I get angry at you? You told me how much you loved David and that you didn't want him to leave this world with regrets, so you wanted to marry him. Fine, I respected your choice. You asked me to come to the wedding, and I agreed. I still thought that as long as you were happy, it didn't matter if the one giving you happiness wasn't me. But why did you give away my grandmother's relic? You knew very well that my grandmother hoped you would wear it before she passed away. Do you think you my grandmother?" When I mentioned my grandmother, my eyes stung unbearably. Sorry. Sophia covered her mouth and was already in tears. I tried hard not to let my tears fall, pulled my suitcase, and turned to leave. Sophia rushed up and grabbed my hand, crying, "Sorry, James, You don't owe me an apology. You owe it to yourself." I pushed her hand away and walked forward resolutely. Sophia ran in front of me and begged, "James, I know I was wrong. Please, give me a chance, okay? I promise I'll never be willful again." I sighed deeply and shook my head. "Sophia, you're already David's wife, a married woman. You're making such a big fuss coming to me and saying these things. Aren't you afraid of being misunderstood? You've already let me down. Do you want to let David down too? He doesn't have much time left. Can you bear to let him leave this world with regrets now?" Hearing David's name, Sophia was stunned for a moment and stopped crying. The reluctance in her eyes had already revealed her true feelings. She was begging me for a chance because she really couldn't bear to part with me, but at the same time, she couldn't let go of David either. Sophia stood there in a daze, looking conflicted and at a loss. I walked past her, and our shoulders gently touched, but she didn't react at all. After leaving that hotel, I changed to another hotel. Maybe the bed in this hotel wasn't comfortable, and I couldn't sleep all night. My phone suddenly rang. It was Olivia. "The couple downstairs is arguing. I can't sleep. Can you come out and have a drink with me?" When I arrived, it was a barbecue stand. Olivia ordered some food and had a case of beer brought over. As she ate, she said, "Order whatever you want. Don't be polite. It's on me." Then, Olivia poured me a glass of beer. Looking at the foaming beer, I suddenly remembered something and asked, Didn't you say that having a late-night snack and drinking beer is the easiest way to gain weight? Why are you so interested tonight? Olivia's eyes rolled, and she quickly found an excuse. It's okay to be a little indulgent once in a while. Come on, cheers. She clinked glasses with me and took a sip. Olivia has a very low tolerance for alcohol. The first time we celebrated Sophia's birthday, Olivia was there. That night, we were all very happy, raising our glasses to celebrate Sophia's birthday. Olivia drank one glass of beer, and her cheeks turned red, and her eyes became blurred. But tonight, looking at the case of beer at her feet, I suddenly understood her intention. She wasn't looking for entertainment because she couldn't sleep. She clearly wanted to ask me out to cheer me up, afraid that I would be moping around alone in the hotel. Sure enough, after 2 glasses of beer, Olivia was already drunk. She couldn't even find the glass in front of her and was fumbling around. Come on, let's keep drinking, drink. Looking at Olivia, who was drunk and talking nonsense, I shook my head helplessly. After helping her up, I looked around for her car. Finally, after asking the barbecue stand owner, I found it 30 meters away. Just as we reached her car, a familiar voice suddenly shouted, "James." I looked up and saw Sophia standing a few meters away. She stared blankly at me and Olivia. A trace of sadness flashed in her eyes, and tears rolled down her face again. So this is the real reason you won't forgive me? I was about to explain, but then I thought better of it. Anyway, it was over between me and Sophia. Why waste more words and get entangled? If this could make her completely let go of me, it might not be a bad thing. At least she wouldn't come looking for me anymore, and I could have some peace. I opened the car door, carefully helped Olivia sit in the passenger seat, and buckled her seatbelt. After making sure she wouldn't fall, I walked around to the driver's seat. Sophia suddenly grabbed my hand and said angrily, "When did you start with Olivia?" I looked up at her and asked coldly, "Does it have anything to do with you? On your wedding night, instead of staying with your Mr. David, you're out here in the middle of the night. Is that appropriate?" My words were like needles, stabbing Sophia so much that she winced in pain. She let go of my hand, and I stepped on the gas, and the car sped away. Sophia stood there, watching me leave. She didn't chase after me this time. She must have given up on me. That's for the best. Have you really let her go? I turned my head and saw that Olivia was sitting up straight, her eyes clear, without any sign of drunkenness. I was very surprised. I asked in surprise, "Olivia, you weren't drunk?" Olivia smiled sweetly. "Do you still think of me as I was 7 years ago?" After all these years in the workplace, I'd built up quite a tolerance for alcohol. I asked, puzzled. "Then why did you pretend to be drunk?" Olivia looked at me with a smile and asked, "James, you still haven't answered my question. Have you really let go of Sophia?" I turned my head, looked straight ahead, and nodded slightly with a blank expression. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a satisfied smile curl up on Olivia's lips. After that night, I didn't see Sophia for 3 months. However, I learned from her friends that Sophia wasn't doing well. David was in the late stages of cancer, often suffering from unbearable pain all over his body, feeling like life was hardly worth living. Sometimes, when the pain reached its peak, he would throw things and hit people. At first, Sophia didn't know the situation. Afraid that he would hurt himself, she went to stop him, but ended up getting slapped in the face by him. Her lips were bleeding, and she looked a mess. Sophia deeply regretted marrying David because I had never even scolded her, let alone hit her. After that, no matter how much David shouted or threw things, she wouldn't step forward to stop him. Moreover, less than a month after getting married to David, she often didn't come home at night, and sometimes she wouldn't be seen for days. One time, when she was drunk, Sophia blurted out the truth. After marrying David, she found that life wasn't as happy as she had imagined. On the contrary, seeing David going crazy, hitting people, and having to take painkillers all day, with his face looking more and more hideous, Sophia began to regret it. She had once mentioned divorce, but David didn't agree. Helplessly, she could only avoid him by not going home. Sophia said herself that she felt disgusted and scared just looking at David now. She would rather die than go back to that home. None of her friends sympathized with her. They all thought she deserved this fate. Sophia got so angry that she threw a wine bottle on the spot, and they parted unhappily. Gradually, her friends distanced themselves from her. Later, I heard that David had a relapse and passed away, and Sophia didn't go back for the funeral. David's family was extremely angry. After calling the police to find Sophia, they criticized and cursed her, saying that her coldness towards David had accelerated his death. Sophia retorted, saying that David only had less than 3 months to live anyway, and his death had nothing to do with her. After several rounds of arguing, David's family couldn't take it anymore and actually started hitting Sophia. She couldn't fight back against 7 or 8 of them alone. In the end, she was beaten black and blue, and even had a cut on her face, which disfigured her. In a fit of anger, Sophia sued David's family in court, turning it into a farce. One day after work, I went grocery shopping with Olivia, planning to cook at home. As we were coming out, she suddenly leaned close to my ear and whispered, "I think someone is following us." I was shocked. How dare someone follow us in broad daylight? So, I immediately contacted the supermarket staff. After checking the surveillance, they confirmed that there was someone tailing me and Olivia. The supermarket promptly dispatched people and blocked the person in the aquatic products area. The person shouted, "What are you doing? Let me go. Let go." The supermarket staff decided to send her to the police station to be dealt with according to the law. The voice sounded very familiar, so I bravely stepped forward to take a look. When I saw her face, I exclaimed in surprise, "Sophia?" Olivia also took a closer look and was extremely shocked. "It really is Sophia. How could it be you?" There was a long scar on Sophia's face, stretching from her forehead to her cheek. It was obvious that she had had plastic surgery, but it wasn't successful, and the scar was still quite noticeable. Sophia quickly lowered her head and covered her face with her hands, denying it. "I'm not Sophia. You've got the wrong person. I'm not her." I stepped forward and grabbed her hand, looking her in the eye. I had been in love with her for 11 years. Even if her appearance had changed, I could still recognize her at a glance. I just never thought she would end up like this. Seeing me, Sophia crouched on the ground and burst into tears. Olivia explained to the supermarket people, "This is our friend. It's a misunderstanding." Only then did the supermarket staff refrain from sending her to the police station. After taking Sophia outside, I asked, puzzled, "Why were you following us?" Sophia lowered her head and replied, "I wanted to see you one last time." I scratched my head, confused. "One last time? What do you mean?" Sophia looked up, forcing a smile. "I'm moving away. I might not come back. So, I wanted to see you before I left. But I've become like this, and I'm too ashamed. That's why I had to do this. James, I'm relieved to see that you're doing well now." As she said this, she suddenly stood up, looked at Olivia, and said with a pleading tone, her eyes filled with tears, "You were my best friend. We used to tell each other everything. I hope you can take good care of James for me and give him twice the love I couldn't give him." Olivia nodded gently. Sophia smiled faintly, wiped away her tears, and turned to leave. "Goodbye. Wish you two happiness."